Thank you very much for joining us again. And thank you very much to my panelists for being with me in this panel discussion. So in this session, we will talk about how Dubai is standing out as an example in terms of accessibility, as this has been embraced as one of the strategic priorities. So this morning I was mentioning that accessibility is a strategic priority for the International Civil Aviation Organization. However, this is not only for air travel, but air travel connects the world, aviation connects the world, but what happens at destination and also once you reach destination, what happens with other modes of transport and especially with tourism. So in this session, what we would like to do is to, first of all, highlight the economic and social potential of accessible travel and tourism, showcase that the Dubai achievements and the collaborative efforts that has made this possible. That's why you see here all the representatives of modes of transport, but also of destination and accessibility, and explore practical steps to ensure accessibility becomes the norm across the aviation and air travel and travel tourism chain. Okay, let's start. In this session, we will not have presentations. We would like to have really an honest and open discussion to share some lessons learned and hopefully to give the opportunities to other modes of transport, but also to other destinations to learn and bring what we are going to share today at home and have some changes as well. So the first question that I would like to ask to my fellow panelists, and please, gentlemen and ladies, feel free to jump. So I have just said that Dubai stands out as in terms of competitive and global accessible industry and sector. But what do you think are the policies and programs that have enabled Dubai to stand out in the competitive global tourism landscape, including what has always been considered until today like a niche, which is the accessible tourism? Who would like to start?
Yeah. I should probably go first.
Please.
So it's very important to take ourselves back a good few years. Perhaps we'll take ourselves back to 2014, 2015, when Dubai declared a very bold goal to be among one of the most visited cities in the world for international visitors. And when you declare that tourism vision, that bold vision from His Highness to set us a clear direction to be among the most visited cities in the world, then of course it's incumbent upon all of us, all of the stakeholders, to rally together to go in that same direction. Today, as we sit in 2025, we have another clear direction, which is our D33 vision. So back in 2014, we had a clear vision, which was to make us one of the most visited international cities in the world. Today, we sit with a clear vision, which takes us through until 2033, to be among one of the best cities in the world to live, work, and invest. And that helps us to work with the airline, helps us to work with the airports, the ground handlers, and the transportation providers, and the municipality, because ultimately the goal is clear. The goal is clear until 2033 of where we're all headed and what we need to do to make that journey possible. And a derivative of that clear travel journey is accessible travel and tourism, because if travel and tourism is not accessible for everyone, if we're not a connected city, then that affects tourism, and therefore accessible tourism is a derivative of everything else we're doing. And I'm sure it helps to set the agenda for the airline, for the airport, for the IATA, for RTA, and for municipality as well. So it's a very clear vision that we have ahead of us.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other perspective from the aviation industry, for example?
Yes, if I just may add to what Jeff has mentioned, having that vision and set 10 years ago, we at the airport have aligned ourselves with having a strategy of 10 years in place, focusing on DXB and DWC to be the most accessible airports. Having said that, as an outcome, and I think that was mentioned in the session before, we have so far 53,000 employees trained around across the airport community. We have dedicated facilities such as dedicated check-in counters, accessible security lanes, accessible washrooms in addition to that. And as we go, as part of the strategy, we've been adding more and more facilities for the different hidden disabilities.
No, if I can, Nick from Emirates, I think Jeff was actually quite right the way he sort of enunciated where we are. We do have one boss, and I think it's one of the, and we've all been here a long time. In fact, this man is literally about 20 meters down from my office, and we all know each other pretty well. So when you're set a task, you kind of rally around it, and the task of making this city the most accessible is a really meaningful thing to do. So it's not difficult to come together to think about how we do this. And we've all got our different offices, and we set up an office this year, and Sohail may be in the audience, but we actually have an office of inclusion and accessibility, a code, how we deal internally and externally. And I think that's how many of us are driving this forward. But ultimately, it's easier for us because we have you kind of identify with Dubai, and if you identify with Dubai, you can identify with what we're trying to do here, and it's exciting. We have some. We don't know it all, but we are actually getting to a place whereby we've learnt a lot. We've got big ears, and I think over the next few years we're going to go places with this. So I think it's a great privilege to sit here and try and talk about it from an airline point of view. But we kind of talk about it. I can talk from Kieran from a handler point of view. I listen to Jeff quite often, so I can probably paraphrase what you say. It's his brain, not mine. And we go on the RTA down the end. The RTA, we work very closely with the RTA. They're very, very important, and they do amazing things to this city. So for us not to have an ear with the RTA so that we can make it better and more inclusive as we bring passengers in would be remiss. So the panel is kind of well glued up. It's kind of well connected. So our policies are sort of more together than many places that I've ever lived, and I've been here 17 years. So it's easy for us to sort of come together and make it happen.
And I think just on the back of that point, Nick, I think it's really, you speak about 2014, if you think of the progress we've made, the numbers we brought to the city year on year, and post-COVID, how we responded back from COVID, we're going to hit 95 million passengers this year. That's incredible. So we've got the biggest airport in the world, and we're just laser focused on making it the best experience for every single passenger in that terminal. And when you labour on the fact that our wheelchair service team, headed up by Moose and the crowd, they're going to handle 2 million customers this year. I just think that's phenomenal. And we've got to do that in, some of the infrastructure, a little bit constrained, it's getting a little bit full. How can we be smart in our deployment and apply that one-to-one service that customers of every guest in Dubai expects? How can we just make that experience as best possible with 2 million customers this year? And it's trending up 5% every year. So we've got big growth numbers coming. We know that. We know that the increased PRM traffic in Dubai is here to stay. These services are being utilized by more. So how do we get ahead of that curve so that we're not constrained in the future? How do we make sure we've got our right people, our right tools, our right processes in place to make sure that every customer is looked after in Dubai.
Yeah, and I actually agree. It's important really to link the policies and to link everyone's work together, because the passenger is one. At the end, they have to have seamless experience and dignified experience when they travel and when they reach the destination. It's important as well, I think, to look at, you're right when you say the PRM numbers are increasing, but I still think that accessibility should be for everyone. It's interesting to see that PRM numbers and accessibility numbers are increasing, and what was very interesting for me was to see how this is going to differentiate, how we are looking at the differentiation of the service independently of the numbers that are growing up. And I'll come to you in a second. But first, I would like to listen from, and forgive me, from the road transport. How do you think, how do you are working into this chain or into this, because you are a very important link in the chain once the person arrives at the airport. So how you are linking your policies, the development of your policies, to what all these gentlemen are doing. And then I will go to Dubai municipalities as well.
Well, thank you very much for having us, Linda. We're very proud to be part of this panel session. And what's actually very great to hear is to see how the private sector is speaking as the government sector, because they're referring to the strategies and the directives of His Highness and the Dubai government, which then comes to us to work hand in hand to make sure it's an end-to-end seamless experience for every tourist that lands in Dubai. And of course, there's been great efforts done by them, by the Dubai airports, by the IATA, and by everyone that works in the tourism sector. And of course, RTA is also an enabler towards this. And accessibility is not an afterthought. So the second someone jumps off the plane, finds their way around, you will start seeing the metro signs. You'll see an exit desk that allows people of determination to get an old card. And this starts their first journey, enables them to move around Dubai with complete accessibility for free and start seeing the beauty within the city. You see it in everywhere. You see it since we started the metro line. It was always accessible. We have state-of-the-art elevators. We had dedicated locations. And you still see it today as we develop the wayfinding across those stations. You see it with all our fleet of buses. They're all enabled to provide a comfortable journey for the tourists to go across Dubai and see the beauty of it. And this is all driven together as a whole experience in Dubai. This is not just the government sector. This is not just the private sector. We're all working together and we're all speaking the same language, as you can hear from my fellow panelists. And this is the key to the success, why you see Dubai ranking at the top when it comes to quality of life, especially when it comes to accessible services. And you see this also with our strategies. Today, the Dubai economy are targeting to have a big increase in tourists of people of determination. You see it throughout the services across the city. So we work hand in hand and very closely to make sure everyone that lives and works in Dubai is also welcoming every single person that's coming in Dubai. And of course, mobility is a very key driver, a key success factor. We work hand in hand with the municipality to ensure the building codes we're adhering to and we're achieving the required certifications. You can also see it through our applications, which are all accessible and have the required certifications to make sure the color accessibility is there, the visual aid is there, and of course in our customer centers, dedicated locations, people are trained to take them through our services and make it as seamless as possible.
That is great. So once I would like actually to go to Azza. Azza, please, how the Dubai municipality has succeeded in transforming public spaces into people-friendly, people with determination-friendly locations?
Sure. So it's not just the role of Dubai municipality, it's really the role of Dubai government overall and the design of the city. as Dubai municipality holds and owns more than 62% of the services in the Emirate of Dubai, it also commits to strategizing how Dubai continuously increases and elevates the quality of life of its citizens overall. Regardless of people's ability, they should be at a certain level of comfort when they're, using the transportation of the city. I think we in Dubai municipality went beyond the policies really. We have embedded accessibility in our strategies. We look at, for example, urban planning and say, okay, how would now my urban planning in Dubai make Dubai accessible to people? I'll give you an example about the public parks in Dubai, for example. I've got different people who go to parks with their families, and those families have different needs, right? Now, I've got 31 million people who visit annually the public parks in Dubai. Out of the 31 million, I have 29,000 visitors visiting Dubai public parks of people with determination, right? Now, when we're strategizing our parks, design, methodology, city design, all of this is embedded in the initial strategizing of the urban planning of the city, enhancing and increasing the quality of life of those people. I think the success behind Dubai municipalities, projects of accessibility and recognizing Dubai today as a disability-friendly city is really through adopting people-first approach across all its services. It's not just a policy that I would look at and would try to implement. It's really beyond compliance to policies and procedures. It's really about how can I today host people. For example, Emirates Airlines is doing a great job. Danata is doing a great job with tourism initiatives and ensuring that we are attracting visitors and tourists to Dubai. But we're also attracting all different people with different needs to Dubai, and we have to ensure that Dubai is accessible to all people with different requirements and with different abilities, and we have to ensure that they would have the right experience and they would live the high quality of life that we're aiming for. We've got a lot of initiatives within Dubai municipality to ensure that people with determination or people with special needs in the city, moving around the cities, the pathways that we are creating, the connections, the transport connections as well, public areas, restaurants, malls, everywhere that we provide services with. It's either private spaces or public spaces. They're catering for people of determination. We're working on also introducing new projects using AI-empowered systems to predict the needs of people of determination in the future as well, and ensuring that all of these needs are also embedded in our strategies to make Dubai more accessible and to make Dubai more attractive to people of all abilities.
Thank you. All of this is very, very interesting and actually inspirational, but actually, and this is for all of you. So let's be concrete and really pragmatic. In terms of standards or criteria that are applied to Dubai to make the city and actually the entire country really accessible, which kind of standards, what are you doing in the concrete world? For example, what is Emirates doing to make sure that the passenger can travel safely but also with dignity, and starting from Emirates, then going to the airport, then going to the handling, then going to Jeff in terms of destination management and the facilitator and also the welcoming party and the regulatory party. Just share one or two examples of changes that you have done now to have Dubai recognized as the most accessible city, I think one of the most accessible city in the world. Can I please? Thank you.
I mean, we have a lot of examples, and when it comes to airline and airport, we kind of work hand in glove. Just one example, I think, that we came up with, which we really like, comes from working, we call it below the wing. So when you see your bags and your whatever going into a container, we decided a couple of years ago to design a special container for large wheelchairs that are driven with lithium batteries. And it took us a while to do this, and we did it because, to be honest with you, a few times we have damaged very, very expensive wheelchairs, very, very expensive electric wheelchairs that we've come to realize that it's parts of that individual. It's not just a means of transport, it's not just to get from A to B, it's actually part of that individual. And that made us extremely sad. It made us think about the whole journey. And we did this during the Paralympics, so it really hit home. So we decided to design what's called a cube, and it's shaped like a cube, and it basically is a special cube that we put all large, heavy electric wheelchairs in. And that cube is then lifted into a fireproof container. So Emirates is changing its whole fleet of baggage containers, and wherever you travel, they'll soon be in fireproof containers. We do this because there's so much lithium around that ultimately you can have an issue. But with big electric wheelchairs, the very heavy powered machines. So we designed this cube, we tested it out, we made sure that it could, the wheelchair couldn't get damaged, and when the customer got to the other end, it was absolutely pristine, it was uncovered, and off they went on their holiday or business or whatever it happened to be. So it was something that we learnt from mistakes we've made during the Paralympics, and something that we were determined not to do again. So one small, tangible, there's loads we think we do, but I really like the cube because that wheelchair is an intrinsic part of that individual. And if you do something to it, regardless of the cost or insurance, all that stuff, it really, really screws people up. So we went really hard on that. And we're doing these cubes and we're delivering them to every airport around the network. So we have 150 odd airports. Each airport will get one or two or three. And so we can ensure that people travel with their mobility devices in absolute safety and security.
Please.
Yes, for us as an airport, I think one of the greatest achievement I would see when we introduced or facilitated, travel for people with hidden disability, and specifically for people with autism. The results were really shocking. We realized later that there are some people who never traveled because there were no facility at the airport and there were no support. And the numbers were really shocking afterwards. And I think since we have introduced, the facility and the support for people with hidden disability, we have handled so far more than 35,000.
That is great. So from then we are going. It's important what you say because it's invisible disabilities are actually the highest number in terms of disability. Many people have invisible disabilities, and this is not always spotted. But also, Nick, what you were saying is fundamental because having a fire prevention, how you call it, the cube?
Yeah.
The cube, it's important because sometimes what is not well known is that battery-powered mobility aids, the wheelchairs, I was mentioning this morning, may have safety issues in the sense that the batteries can go on fire, and this can be, really. Fatal for the aircraft, and I think that will help improve the safety of everyone. but also of the mobility aid in itself, because unfortunately still around the world that are mobility aids that get damaged when traveling on the cargo container of the aircraft. And that is also because there is no mobility aid that has been designed so far with air travel in mind. So that is also another part of work that needs to be done. But also when I was thinking, when the passenger arrives at the airport and the handlers, I think they have a very, very important role to play, because you actually take care of that
So our biggest
passenger.
achievement, I think, in the last 2 or 3 years is we've actually just looked at the problem statement. And what we want to do is we want to highlight awareness to all our frontline staff. It's not just the visible disabilities, it's absolutely everything. And we had to rip up our playbook around how we approach that. We've got a team of 1,500 wheelchair attendants who look after our PRMs, which you've spoken about. But we've also got 4,500 other front-facing employees. And through a partnership with Dubai Airports, actually, a 1DXB initiative, which is really powerful. It is 1DXB, it's all stakeholders working together. How do we rewrite our training syllabus? How do we make sure every frontline customer is trained to, one, understand what a hidden disability is, how you treat it, how you should approach a situation, how can we upgrade our processes, our tools in terms of translation or oral hearing loops, for example. So we've really broken up how we approach the problem. It's organizational wide, it's for every frontline employee, and it's minimum training standard. So we have to do that, we have to do recurrent, and I think by doing that, you bring a lot more empathy to the frontline. They understand problems a little bit deeper, they understand the impact, they can relate to it. And that comes across. You can't really teach empathy. It's either in you, it isn't. I'm glad to say our Donata frontline team, they are heroes. I'm really proud of the work we did with Nick for that cube, because it comes out of innovation is about a necessity right now to do something different. And it's these problems that sometimes we don't handle it perfectly, but we learn from it and we make it better next time. So we've invested in our people, we've invested in some of our technology, and we're still curious, we're still learning. I like the work we do with our CSR initiatives outside of work hours. We partner with different foundations around the city. We try and spend time in volunteering, trying to bring that empathy, trying to link that to what we do on a day job and dealing with millions of passengers every year.
Oh, thank you. Wow, wonderful. Jeff, what's on your side?
Sure. When you think about the destination overall, and you think of this brand that is Dubai, the most tangible thing that we actually do as a destination, and I think you'll hear this quite clearly, is to measure and get the real data. And what you'll hear from all of our colleagues is numbers clearly. RTA will know exactly how many people have used the Knoll cards for free of charge. As municipality have told you, they'll know exactly how many people are passing through the gates into the parks, exactly how many people are using the services at the beaches. The airport will be able to tell you exactly, as they did, 29,000 who have used the new services as a result of being autism certified. And the airline will tell you exactly how many people are using services on the plane. That comes from this absolute focus on wanting to understand the customer, the addressable market size, and how we can get more tourism acquisition. To give you an example, we're around the 4th most visited city in the world for international visitation, around 17 to 18 million visitors. And we ask those visitors, fortunately, every month at Dubai airports, we survey them and we ask them, is a person of determination in your family? Do you have someone in your family who's a direct family member, and are they a person of determination? We get that data. 23% of all of the visitors that are traveling to Dubai are a person of determination or have a direct family member who is a person of determination. That's a big number, but reflective of the number globally. But then we ask another critical question. Are they traveling with you? And 71% are traveling with them, which means they're experiencing the city now. They're experiencing our services now. And then, of course, we have to beg two questions. If they're not traveling with you, what can we do to help make that happen? But if they are traveling with you, or if indeed it's you, then did you face any challenges when you were here in Dubai? Now, fortunately, 13% of them tell us, unfortunately, they tell us, yes, I faced some challenges, but then that gives all of the team here something to work on.
It's a good thing, right?
It's great because we're listening, and that's the most tangible thing that we do. We get this data, and with this data, we're able to have great conversations with Dubai Municipality, with RTA, with the IATA, with the airports, with the airline, with Emirates. And that's what continues to drive the progress forward. Because we all know from the same boss that we all share that we want to be the best, but you don't know where you are unless you have the data. And that's the best thing that we can do, and that's what we continue to do every single day.
Okay. What kind of challenges are the passengers, the travelers experience that you receive? Which kind of which typology? I know from the aviation perspective, but from your perspective.
So for the customers who've been in Dubai and have enjoyed Dubai and are now on their way returning home that we speak to at the airport, the single biggest challenge, 13%, is navigation, language, and signage. And that's not necessarily reflective of their challenge, but because this city is home to more than 200 nationalities and welcomes such a massive diversity of source markets. So literacy level, for example, in English or in Arabic may be non-existent. So if we're surveying some of those travelers that are coming from source markets where they're not able to navigate in English or in Arabic, then of course they may face directional challenges, sign challenges, reading road signs, reading signs here and there. So again, they might not be pure accessible challenges, but it is navigation and signage, which is probably the biggest challenge for tourists, never mind just accessible tourists. And I know the team at the airport will probably talk to that because they face these challenges all the time. But that is the biggest challenge that comes across consistently.
No, and I agree. I wanted also to listen from Shaika, if you have this, if you are applying as well standards or accessibility policies or best practices as well. And then I would like to listen from Asa as well. And if there is any correlation between those, and if you also have some challenges in terms of the correlation with the passenger.
Well, I think this question should actually be directed to Azza, given that we follow Dubai Municipality building codes, which there is a minimum requirement. They have a certification called WSOL, but I think I'll give you the chance to speak in more details. But as RTA, we're committed to obviously following the building codes and making sure our buildings are adhering to it, especially the newer ones. I mean, RTA has been established since 2005, and we do have older buildings that might have not necessarily been built at that stage with all the right requirements for accessibility, but we did have a plan to revamp and retrofit our buildings to make sure they are adhering and they are accessible, and I'm very proud to say we're almost at the end of that. All our new buildings are 100% adhering to those codes. We do have a few buildings that are in the pipeline to be done by hopefully next year. But of course, with RTA, I'm sure, as you can see, with the influx of population, there's a lot of demand for the roads to be completed as well and retrofitted. So maybe one of our biggest challenges was to make sure that today, if people want to walk, that they can walk. And that also includes people of determination. So maybe one of the main challenges that we have faced and trying to overcome now is making sure that our roadways, our pathways are accessible. Some areas in Dubai, especially the older town, might have a smaller width in the right of way, but we're making sure with our new projects that isn't a challenge. We're trying to make Dubai more walkable every day. So I think you've seen a lot of announcements, a lot of our main projects that are promoting walking and making Dubai a more walkable city. Some of the main challenges, as I mentioned, are the pathways, are the crossways, especially the pedestrian ones. So what we've been working on for the past few years is adding ramps for the pedestrians. So this is going to allow, if there's any people of determination with physical accessibilities, that this is going to enable them to walk. Very recently, we've also added smart traffic management to those crossways. So what that basically does, we have a sound system. So this alerts if we have people that cannot see. So the sound is going to let them know that this is the right time for them to cross. We also did put some lights, which is going to allow any colorblind or any people to see that this is the right time to walk as well. And we recently just added AI-powered sensors, which allows us to take real-time data of traffic. Coming back to what Jeff was saying, and this is going to allow us to better plan and also see how much they're smart enough to determine if these are people of determination using those pedestrians, so we can prioritize those areas for them. In the end of the day, we want to act smart. In the end of the day, we do have an allocated budget, so we need to be smart on how to upgrade and retrofit the entire city for those people to be able to live inclusively without needing any help. They should be able to live their lives the way they should. So we're very proud. We finished 17 intersections since 2014, and we've completed another 10 this year. And of course, we have more projects in the pipeline. So we realize this is a challenge, but we have plans to make sure this challenge is nullified and we continue giving the choice of walking across Dubai easily. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, all our modes of transport have initiated with solutions with accessibility. Whether it's the metro, it's the tram, it's the buses, it's the special taxis we provide. But our taxis today have drivers that have been trained to deal with different disabilities, to reach you within your household, pick you up and take you to whichever destination that you want. And this, you can do it by yourself. You can have the choice of obviously having someone with you or riding the taxi by yourself. So this is a commitment that we have to train our people accordingly. And it comes again with CSR. We have a dedicated section in the Roads and Transport Authority to have initiatives that let people know how to assist and have mobility accessible to everyone, including different people across the city, to again enable and showcase how to prioritize. One of the main things we need to talk about, and you touched upon, is the fact that we have more than 200 nationalities living in Dubai. And that's a pot of different behaviors and cultures. So it is very important that we work together, that we train each other, and we work on behaviors to make sure we're not hindering the lives of other people. We have allocated parking, so this should be used by those people, and we're trying our best to work with our counterparts in Dubai Police and Parking to make sure that those areas are dedicated. So there's a lot of behaviors, a lot of work that has to be done together as a community, and then through the agencies available. So we're learning as we're going. This is a continuous process, and we try to go to neighborhoods to sit with people. I'm sure you've seen in our socials and our media outreach, we meet with different neighborhoods across the year to hear from the people, get real-time feedback on our services and our infrastructure, and then put plans to fix in case we didn't catch them. We try our best, but we also want to involve the community. So these are some of the efforts we're doing to learn as we go and to enhance as we go, and we hope we can adhere to all the requirements without people asking for it, trying to be predictive.
Thank you.
Yes, now we're talking about passengers only, but I'll generalize my answer for a little bit. So
Yes.
the main challenge really we're facing in Dubai municipality, since, like I mentioned, we own and perform more than 60% of the city's services and public services. What we face challenges with is really the public-private sector partnerships, right? Because for Emirates to be performing its role, they need to really be very much aligned with Dubai municipality. The partnership probably is a bit of a challenge where we need to enhance that and ensure there's probably higher level of alignment between private and public sector. That's, I wouldn't call it a challenge. That's across the globe. That's not a challenge in Dubai only. And we're hoping that we would have better partnership in the future with the private sector. Now, again, Dubai municipality has always had, and it's reinforcing the fact that everything that we do is people-centric, right? And from that approach, or adopting that approach, has enabled us to look at things differently. So what we've done also in Dubai municipality was not just to provide the services for people of determination in airports, transport connections, parks, the public areas. We have also hired 94 people of determination as part of Dubai municipality teams. So if you, as a benchmark, hiring 49 people of determination as part of our team is quite of an achievement in this part of the world, where the inclusivity of this segment of the society has not been as active before. So that's an achievement that goes to Dubai municipality to be able to enable a lot of criteria that we set for other facilities in Dubai that we provide to airports, etc. So let me just give you an overview of the criteria that we look at. So we look at the accessibility of movement now across in transport connections, parks, public transports, of course, with RTA. We've got joint ventures with RTA ensuring that these ramps are available, rail resources are available. I would say pathways, all of that is done. Inclusive communication. Now, what we've done in Dubai public parks, we have now signage as well in Braille language. We have elevated and upgraded the handrails as well. So if you see the handrails, it would also have Braille language guiding people where to go as well. So there's a lot of small details that make the big impact, really, of the overall experience of the visitor in the public parks in Dubai. So another factor that we look at is safety and preparedness. For example, fire drill evacuations and the evacuation systems are very much also tailored to cater for people of determination in public areas, public parks. We've got also the leisure, the inclusive leisure experience. I think Dubai is not only setting a benchmark economically globally. We're also setting a benchmark in the design of an inclusive city. I think if you look at it also on a regional level, Dubai has been leading in the inclusivity city design as well.
Indeed. Yes. No, indeed. And actually, Dubai is working very hard to stay ahead of the tourism sector. How do you think Dubai can help and attract? First of all, let's look at some data, because I still recall in 2020 when the world stopped. Everybody was saying, it will take time for people to travel again and to visit the world. First of all, let me say that the disability community was the only community which was traveling even during COVID. For medical reasons, of course, sometimes, but also for visiting once aviation started opening and we could travel. And I tell you even more, in 2020, 2021, in IATA, with the group of persons, with the group that I manage of airlines and persons with disabilities and airport handlers, we developed the majority of standards and best practices, including for masks and including for the safe loading of mobility aids and so on and so forth. Because there was the need, because people were traveling, people with disabilities, and we were very, very, very active. But let me take a step back. When we talk about data, we are saying that a huge number of passengers are joining, are coming to Dubai, and we see an increase of persons with disabilities traveling. If you can share, and if you have those information of what we are talking about here and what is the projection that you expect from your perspective, And if those numbers are really going up, how you are getting prepared from all the different perspectives, from the airport, airlines, handlers, and the destination. And
So I'll just go back to the numbers I spoke about at the start.
Yes.
Our wheelchair service is 2 million passengers per annum. And if you add in the hidden disabilities, I can't measure that. I don't know, frankly, there's not a whole lot of data. But our approach in the Emirates Group, and Donata specifically, and the airline, is we just continue to invest in our product. We will continue to invest in our people. We'll continue to invest in getting our processes right. We'll work with the airport to eke out as much capacity as we can, because what we do know is these numbers are not going to compress. They're not going to decline. They're going to continue to grow in line with all of the other traffic metrics as well. So we really have to be ahead of the curve. We have to lead. We don't want to be the biggest. We want to be the best, and we want to provide the best service for every single customer traveling through the port of Dubai, airport of Dubai. So we know that this is, and we have to redesign the future. We've got a new airport on the horizon. It's 8-9 years away. So we need to really think about, if the volumes continue to grow and the distances in the new airport are vast, the new capacity will be like 250 million, which is, it's a huge airport. It's beyond a big airport. It's like 4 airports put together. So how do we design experiences now on paper to deliver world-class service in 10 years' time? So this is where we're investing our efforts at the moment, in line of running the biggest airport at the same time. So we have to keep with this mindset of the numbers are going to be massive, and how we integrate our processes with everybody else on the panel. How do we do that together? So we can't, as soon as you stop focusing on a standard, the standard will decline. So we need to keep focusing, keep pushing ourselves to be the best version of ourselves.
yeah.
From an airport perspective, as I mentioned earlier, that we have a strategy, and I'm not going to talk about capacity and the growth. I'm more worried about, adding more categories of making it more inclusive. Like, for example, when we started, we targeted people with autism and hidden disabilities. We have recently added some hearing loops. And as I mentioned, as we go, we are adding more and more facilities to become fully inclusive to all categories. We are as well rolling out this year around, I know Kirk has a different view on sensory pods, but we are rolling around 30 sensory pods around the airports. So as we go, we are on the way to being fully inclusive.
Sure, I think, look, the numbers are enormous and inevitable. We know the growth is there, but we have to keep in mind, we look at things from an entire tourism perspective. So if you think of this part of the world, if you just think of the GCC, and you think of the demographics that are in play now, and how the existing population will age, and what comes with aging, and then when you think of the young population that is, if you just walk around Dubai now, you just see strollers everywhere. But that population will grow up in Dubai and will also age here. If you start to look at the age of people who are traveling through Dubai, and maybe the airline can talk about markets like Australia, where you see that movement of a much older generation from Australia traveling through Dubai and perhaps onwards to Europe, the same demographics will keep playing out. So the challenges that we are facing now from a tourism and a service perspective it's not going away. It will only become larger because of aging, but because of the population growth and because of the growth of the city as a transit point, because of the growth of the airport and the airline. So where we are now is just setting a very, very, very small benchmark. And if we don't keep this attitude that my colleagues are referring to of continuing to raise the bar in terms of service levels, then we will not be having this conversation in a few years. We have to keep pushing ahead because the numbers are inevitable and are not going anywhere.
No, I think you're right, Jeff. I think for us, Emirates is for everybody. It's not an airline for any specific group. It's for absolutely everybody. And luckily, I've got some wonderful people here that support this. I mean, the most important thing about Emirates, I guess, is the flight and getting on the aircraft. But there's so much we have to do prior to that. The thinking about your journey, the booking your journey, how easy is that? Your trip to the airport, and we've heard from the RTA. We also have a chauffeur drive service that has specific PRM capabilities. How we lay out the airport, how easy is it to check in? How easy is it to go airside? You may have seen on the Emirates stand the biometrics that you, there are some of these other airports where basically at any height you can go through, it'll clock your face, and as long as your face is on the database, you're through immigration. So we need to make, every touch point we have, I guess, has to be easy, has to be for everybody. And if we can put some fun in there as well, it will be great. Getting airside, going through security, all of the police are doing a brilliant job here. I should have mentioned the biometric gates are our immigration colleagues. Very helpful. They're not up here on stage, but they work hand in glove with us. The cops are putting in a whole load of very easy to use hand baggage screening facilities. The lounge is run, jointly by ourselves and by my colleague here next to me. So there's Emirates is. I'll go back to the original point. Circle back. Emirates is for everybody, but we have to make it easy to use. We have to be the airline that maybe the first you think about when you want to come, where it's easy. It's just dead easy and straightforward. And Dubai is a fabulous destination to go to, where we listen and we get things right. I mean, one of the things that struck me with our neurodiverse, a lot of my colleagues have talked about neurodiverse autism training, and every single staff member in Emirates and Donata and DA, etc., goes through autism training, recognizing autism, how to behave as part of their ab initio. They do this as part of they can't get past it. They have to do it. And the reason why we did that, it was an amazing, the autism guys from the US were talking to us, and I think you heard the statistic earlier, but 80% of families don't go on holiday. Now, I went home that night and I literally put my face in my hands. I thought, how can I compare my life, what I do, with something that's so limiting, so difficult to come to terms with? And that really was quite a watershed for us in Emirates. So we thought about it, and we thought we have to do something about this. And we are. We're absolutely doing something about it. As Jeff says, if we don't stay on the front foot, if we don't keep changing every year, then people will go somewhere else. But I think we've got enough here to attract people. And Emirates, with all the help it gets, Emirates is absolutely wedded to the idea of everybody is welcome.
Yeah, indeed. And actually looking at invisible disabilities, we briefly touched on this today. Probably there is still not enough research and not enough investigation still on invisible disabilities, because when we started looking at disability, and if you see still in some definitions in regulations, the reference is persons with reduced mobility. And here we are saying, and not only here actually, that 80% of passengers who are disabled actually have an invisible disability. And then if we look at what is called the silver economy, the population is aging. So in the population which is aging, retired people will travel. I will travel for sure. But how I will travel and being able to navigate airports and or for example for people who are already of certain age, not only navigating in big airports, but also to understand the signage, or, for example, not to get lost when traveling in airports which don't have just have the local language. So this is what for me is really. I really enjoy coming in Dubai because it's so much more advanced compared to other places in the world, and you really feel welcomed, and you really feel that you will not get lost. And then, it's really welcoming people with any ability, because again, I always stress the fact that it's not about the disability, it's about the accessibility, how to make sure that whichever person arrives at destination has the same ability to enjoy that destination as anyone else. So for me, what I get out of not only this discussion, but all other discussions is that the society needs to evolve in terms of acceptance. Then aviation is a mode of transport. I see what is ongoing in terms of updating the standards, best practices, even something that is very tiny, that is a code, for example, on invisible disability or a code on assistance service, has to change. And maybe codes will not be the future anymore in terms of the language, because even our language has to become more accessible, honestly. So we are almost there with the time, but still, the final round of your own perspectives. And if there was a message that you want this audience to leave with, because we have people coming from all over the world, and then I think we are in streaming or whatever it is, what is the message that you would like to share in terms of your work, the lessons that you have learned? What is one message that you want this audience to leave with?
If you allow me to start, I think you have noticed a trend between all entities and all my colleagues. There is one specific point, and it is people, and I think this is what differentiates us here in Dubai. That we, aside from the infrastructure, the technology, the policies, the vision, the main differentiator is that our focus on people. And when we talk about objectives every year, especially in the airport, we hear one thing: it's people, people, people. So I think if we're going to take something from here, people are the most important element in all that.
Together. I think on the back of that, I think we're extremely fortunate to be in a place with clear vision, and I think that's very obvious to us. But more than that, again, you'll probably hear consistency in that the team is together. This is one group of entities doing one thing, which is focused on Dubai and is focused on the people that live here and the people that are visiting here. So we do everything together.
Also, from a transit hub perspective, we want customers. You spoke about aging populations. You spoke about people with now middle class that got more money to travel. People are traveling more, and we want them to choose Dubai over any other transit hub in the world. People are very welcome here. Got the evolution in visas in the last even 2 or 3 years. It's phenomenal. City is safe and it's accessible. So you put these three combinations together with a laser focus on service, and we believe we're in the right place. So, but we are competing.
I think what's very important to end with from my side at least is the fact that this is a hand-in-hand process. So whoever's sitting here, we're enablers today, but this will only work with the community. So once our services are built and designed to allow people to be feel inclusive and accessible, this also works together with the community and with society to be part or to play a part in making sure when the services are provided is to let those services go to those that need it the most. And then we're, of course, from our side, we're committed to building better infrastructure, making sure all the modes of transportation allows for a seamless mobility experience. I'm sure you've heard that RTA has recently awarded the Blue Line. So we're also committed to expanding the infrastructure. So again, this transportation service goes across the city of Dubai so everyone can enjoy the best that they can. We currently have a line that operates around 90 kilometers. The Blue Line will add another 30 kilometers. We have 55 stations. We're adding another 14 stations. It will all be up to the standards with all the accessibility requirement for both physical and invisible disabilities to make sure we're giving the right experience that the Dubai brand has been associated with, and to continue the great work that all the partners are putting together to make sure Dubai is the best destination to go to.
So I'd like to thank everybody, and probably my learning here and final comment is that we all share a common goal, is really making Dubai safe and comfortable, accessible to all citizens and visitors. As we probably a final comment on our strategy, as Dubai has introduced recently night beaches. I'm not sure if you've heard of Dubai's night beaches, and we're introducing more night beaches in Dubai. In parallel, we have also reached 90% accessibility to all Dubai's beaches, and we aim at 100% hopefully by next year. So as we expand and make Dubai more attractive to tourism and to citizens, we are also ensuring that Dubai is safe, accessible, and Dubai is also the setting the benchmark for an inclusive city design. Thank you so much for the invite, and I think it's been great pleasure. Thank you.
Can I? You started in the wrong way, didn't we? It's quite strange. But I think that for me, everyone's kind of said it, but we're incredibly tolerant. We have lots of humility, and we always listen. And I think Dubai couldn't have achieved what it has today without those wonderful values. So I'd leave you that. I won't say from Emirates, I say from all of us, because we're kind of like that. But we do that in spadeful. So thank you all for listening to us. I'll leave our wonderful moderator to say the last inspiring things.
Thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much to everyone for being here with us today. For me, it's really, when I talk to state regulators and to the industry regards accessibility, I always say that this is an opportunity. It's a challenge for sure, because society is not accessible. But it's also an opportunity, because we have an opportunity to make things right, especially to those regulators which are starting legislating and looking at disability and accessibility in their own countries. And this is what I say to the airlines, the group of airlines with whom I work. So I say, let's take this as an opportunity and also showcase how we are all working together, because at the end, the legislation is important. And it's very interesting that any of you has talked about legislation in this panel. If I go to other places, the first thing that comes out is the word legislation, regulation. All of you have spoken about collaboration, education, challenges, investing in education, innovation in terms with the cube, which I'm very enthusiastic as well, and infrastructures, how to improve infrastructures and the relationship that exists between all the travel chain, because if only a link of the chain is broken, the chain doesn't work. So collaboration is essential. And bringing persons with disabilities in the picture is really, really important. So what I get out from here is that the Dubai example, Dubai should be taken as an example and showcased in other jurisdictions as well, as a good example of collaboration to leave a positive footprint for the future. And finally, this concludes our panel. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I want really, really, really very much extend my thanks for having been here, and my panelists for their time, insights, patience as well, and leadership. I really think that your contributions helped illuminating the path forward, and I hope I will have other opportunities to have a similar panel in the future. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening.